They want to win. They want to be the best at what they do. And that doesn't take fitting in. It takes standing out.
That is the differentiator. If you just have the generic content, then you're just like everyone else, right? Injured, car accident, question mark. But when you get to the core of it, of who you are and your story and your background and why you do things the way that you do it, it really makes it unique.
Build your personal brand as authentically you while you communicate in a way that's, here's how I can help you get to where you're meant to go.
Welcome to Personal Injury Mastermind. I'm your host, Chris Dreyer, founder and CEO of Rankings.io, the elite legal marketing agency. Each week, you get insights and wisdom from some of the best in the industry. On these special Toolkit Tuesdays, we dive deep into conversations with the leading vendors in the legal sphere. The masterminds behind the technologies, services, and strategies that help law firms not just survive, but thrive in today's competitive landscape. Now, this isn't about selling you the latest software or getting kickbacks from affiliate links. It's about bringing you the best so you can be the best for your firm, for your staff, for your clients, and for you. This is Toolkit Tuesday on PIM, your weekly guide to staying sharp in the legal world. Follow along so you never miss an episode. Let's get started. I hate to say it, but a laundry list of accomplishments slapped on a website is not going to attract your ideal clients. Don't get me wrong, the accomplishments are important, but that list needs to complement a much larger story. That story sets you apart from every other option out there. You need a compelling brand narrative that shows who you are and what makes your why crystal clear. So how can you stand out? How do you establish authority and credibility in a sea of legal competition? How do you find that unique blend, that essence of what sets you apart and above the rest? My guest today has worked with numerous high-profile attorneys to help their firms shine through purpose-driven branding and websites. Dmitriy Kozlov is the founder of Influex. His agency has a unique mission to accelerate the evolution of love by helping influencers fully express their essence and amplify their authority. Dmitriy shares his wisdom on unleashing your unique personal brand, positioning yourself as your client's trusted guide, and demonstrating your expertise by giving away value. He breaks down how to uncover your origin story, infuse your marketing with your authentic self, and generously share your knowledge to attract ideal clients. Here's Dmitriy Kozlov, Chief Expression Officer at Influex.
I went to college in some ways to make my mom happy. When I first started, I thought it would be the right path and career. Started in biochem, then realized I don't like hanging out with the chemistry kids that much. Started doing some network marketing when I was 18. As many of us who start network marketing, that didn't turn out well financially, but I learned so much and got into personal development and realized that I could never work for somebody else full time, and kind of saw college as, hey, this is going to be a 4-year container to experiment, because it's kind of a bubble where nobody takes what you do very seriously. You're supposed to be focused on your studies. Switched to a sociology and business major at the time, never used a degree. While I was in network marketing, I built myself my first website. That was my personal brand. That was my blog. And other networkers started paying me. At the time, it was $200 or $300 a piece, then $500 a piece to build blogs for them. Started doing it for small businesses. Before I graduated, I was so committed, unlike all my friends who were committed to, they were like, hey, I would just want to get the best job or go into grad school, stay on the academic treadmill. I was committed. I'm going to graduate college and make sure I never have to show my degree and never have to make a resume. Even though I'd been working since I was 13, I've had jobs since I was a kid and worked kind of through college as well. When I was graduating, I was just like, okay, I've got the skill. Let me monetize the skill. I'm going to keep building websites for people until I find out what I really want to do. And started building websites. It was $500, $600, $1,000 a piece, $2,000 a piece, made a full-time income out of it first year after college. And I kept thinking, hey, what do I really want to do? And so, fast forward now is 12 years after graduation, and I am still building websites. I've got an amazing team. And it's become so much more than building websites, because it's really become extracting the essence of who somebody is and then bringing it forth as their full expression online, like the 24/7 digital version of them. And then doing that through brands and through companies. So it's become a huge passion. I've started and built other businesses along the way, but this has always been the through line. And I've discovered this is what I really want to do.
Such an interesting path of focus It was like intentional, not intentional, but intentional, kind of back and forth. And I got to jump in. And it not just websites. We're talking Cameron Harold. We're talking Frank Kern. We're talking Roland Frazier. We're talking in the legal vertical, Alexander Shinara, myself, Jason Hennessy, Michael Mogul, Louise Scott. You are making some powerhouse websites for some top legal and entrepreneurs. And I got to give you credit. And I read that you've stated your purpose as accelerating the evolution of love through inspiring and empowering influencers. So, how did you arrive at this purpose? Because it's so clear.
Love the reminder on that purpose because that still stands. And so I think when I was 24, I was watching some spiritual video around and kind of came to the realization for myself, God is love, love is God. I'm like, this is what the Beatles have been saying all along. And yet the evolution of how humans love on this planet, like that we get to contribute to that. So discovered for myself, hey, my contribution in this life gets to be to accelerate how we as humanity love. The influencers part is I started when I was 23, started working with influencers. I went to a conference called Underground Online Marketing Seminar, ran by Yannick Silver. He became my first mentor, started doing some web work for him. And then that led to Mike Dillard and then eventually Frank Kern, Dean Graziosi, a lot of influencers, and kind of discovered that instead of building the kind of business that they were building that reaches hundreds of thousands or millions of people or tens of thousands of customers, that I actually wanted to be a bit more behind the scenes and essentially influence the influencers and get to do the work with them, because through that, I get to reach millions of people, but indirectly in a way that the people I directly get to work with are the people I can also learn the most from, in some ways become more like them, and in some ways get to bring some of my essence to extracting and expressing theirs. And so it's been bringing some of that essence of love, because we all have it as human beings, into how we build their personal brands and their company brands. And so now it's been like, even though what we do for them is on the surface is building their brands and websites, on the inside, I kind of become, for many influencers and many companies, kind of their trusted advisor, because we get to know them so intimately on such a deep level and then bring that forth through the external expression of their brand.
I just had a conversation with a good friend, Gary Sarner, and we were talking about website design. And I said, hey, I don't think your copy really explains who you are and your expertise, because he is the guy when it comes to radio. I said, you know what? You need to talk to Dmitriy. You need to go to Influex. You need to talk to them because of your copywriting and showcasing that expression through words, through visuals. Can you explain what a full expression means to you and how you help people get there?
Yes. I'll first go back a little bit more in my story. So I came here to the United States as when I was 7, single mom. We immigrated over. And so I didn't speak the language at all. And so I was bullied a lot and couldn't really express myself and couldn't really influence the world around me. And so I really got to master and learn the English language. And I got to find that was touching my deepest core wound, is I got to express myself and influence the world with words. And I actually started rapping when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. When I started, way fast forward, when I started Influex, it was a combination of influence and expression based on my belief your greatest influence comes through your fullest expression. When it comes to the question you asked, by the way, I love Gary. We just had a conversation last week, and I'm excited to do some work for him to bring more of his essence to the table. Guys, he's so interesting. Like, not only so brilliant in what he does, but also, wears these unique, colorful shirts and goes to conferences and is so memorable because he expresses himself as he is. And so for many of us, even though we have a unique expression as who we are as people, when it comes to the business world, sometimes we put on this professional suit to appear a certain way to fit in. And so I go back as a kid. At first, I wanted to fit in, and then discovered that what I really want is to stand out and to be seen. And I think most human beings, most of us, and especially entrepreneurs, and lawyer entrepreneurs, they really want to be seen. They do what they do because they want to be seen. They want to win. They want to be the best at what they do. And that doesn't take fitting in. It takes standing out. And so each of us has this unique expression within us. And I've gotten to cultivate the gift, and our team's gotten to cultivate the gift of intimately getting to know someone through their story, through their unique values, through their purpose, which sometimes they have clearly defined, sometimes they don't. And then get to infuse that into their marketing. And of course, that's combined with the influence side of deeply understanding their audience, the direct marketing principles that speak to their audience. But I think this is especially relevant. Of course, it's relevant for influencers and marketers, but it's especially relevant for lawyers. You think about personal injury law. When we first went into the industry, we asked the question, we're like, well, what makes you different? Like, what makes any of them different? Because technically, on the surface, and to most of the consumers, they're doing the same thing, right? They're helping you. You've been in a personal injury, and they are here to take on your case, to stand for you. Gary and I were talking about this, that most personal injury lawyers also will say the same thing. What makes you different? We win more and we care more. Okay, well, that's one thing. And so does the guy down the street, even if you think they don't, and they'll still say the same thing. So then what really makes you and your firm different? And we found that in personal injury, it's a combination of things. It's philosophy, it's personality. Most of the time, it's culture. Like every firm, we've worked with a number of the top 8-figure firms, and so many of them have, even though on the surface, it's a very similar message, there's actually something so unique about who they are and what they do that attracts a different type of client. And it usually has to do with their culture, their values, how they run their team. We take Shannara as one example. So we got to write the headline for them of "We go to war for your family." So we go to, and they're warriors. Like they were the first major personal brand firm we built, and we went into their office and we're like, wow, these guys are warriors. They have all these thoroughbred attorneys, and they care so deeply. And we win more and care more for them as expressed through "We go to war for your family." To big insurance companies, you're just a claim number. To most attorneys, you're just a settlement number. To us, you're the reason we never stop fighting. And we kind of contrast that to a mutual client of ours, Hey Law, Alreen. The headline we got to write for her was, "When you stand up for yourself, we stand with you." And for her, it's a lot more standing up against corporate bullies, employment law, sexual harassment. And it's standing up for the woman that's been harassed in some way, and they're standing up against the big corporate bully. And rather than just, hey, we're going to take you and protect you, it's also empower you. And when you stand up for yourself, we stand with you. And you kind of see the contrast of those. Technically, they could each almost be saying the same thing, but they're saying radically different things based on Alreen's is a culture of love. Shannara's is a culture of war, but a war in a way that's war for love, war for care, winning for the right reasons. And there's been such a wide range of clients that we've worked with that even though, again, on the surface, before we worked with them, their websites were almost saying the same thing. We got to say what they're truly here to do and why they do it in a way that becomes this unforgettable marketing headline.
Yeah, in a way, it's very introspective. It allows you to uncover who you are at a deeper level and then use those words to craft the perfect message. That is the differentiator. If you just have the generic content, then you're just like everyone else, right? Injured, car accident, question mark. But when you get to the core of it, of who you are and your story and your background and why you do things the way that you do it, it really makes it unique. You have some unique guiding principles or core values at your agency. And a few of them, even the wording of these are very intriguing. So you have forward flow and upward spiral. How do these principles show up in your day-to-day?
Love this question because, again, it goes back to culture and values. So this is how we show up as an agency. And it actually makes an acronym of Influex. And one thing is I'm a spoken word artist. Spoken word name is Forward, Forword, moving the world forward with words. And so that's shown up in copywriting. And mostly, I love forming acronyms. I love alliterating things because it makes things more memorable. And so a lot of companies have core values. For us, we've been so adamant about whether it's the clients work with or for ourselves, having those core values be memorable so that the team in the marketplace really not only gets it, but can remember it. And so for ours, first one, innovate, imagine, inspire. Really all about, and I love the Einstein quote, logic takes you from A to B, imagination takes you anywhere. Or the Steve Jobs quote, one of my biggest heroes. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And so we really believe in leading the way with creativity, imagining a better future, and then inspiring our team and our clients to create that. Naked truth, really just radical transparency, authenticity, whether it's through the relationship with the numbers, ourselves, and others. Forward flow, Lao Tzu quote, for those who flow as life flows, know they need no other force. So the forward flow is all about it, especially as a creative agency, there's so many different things we do. It's always about moving things forward. So it's never getting stuck, never thinking, hey, because we don't have the copy for this, we can't start this, or because we don't have the design here, we can't start this. It's always coaching and working with our team on how do we move forward the next step, even if there seems to be a roadblock. So like being like a river that flows through around all obstacles and doing that in business.
You really excel, and Influex really excels at creating this authentic personal brand. I want to flip it on the other side. Where are so many personal brands missing the mark? Where do you see the biggest issues with those trying to highlight their personal brand?
So the first thing that probably comes to mind, and I think it's the reason when people build a personal brand for the wrong reasons, and I think oftentimes it's also the reason people don't build a personal brand. And depending on their value systems, it's really when it's about ego, from the perspective of thinking a personal brand is about me. And even though, of course, it's a personal brand, it's usually yourname.com. For an attorney, it's very oftentimes their face and name on the billboard. Even though oftentimes they don't have separate personal brands, their personal brands are infused into their companies. They're named after them. When they make it about themselves and the personal brand becomes, look how great I am, even though it can build a lot of credibility, it usually doesn't build as much connection and relatability. And so a personal brand, really great book, Story Brand by Donald Miller, that really speaks to you are not the hero of the marketing story. And so when it's a personal brand, when you try to be the hero, that actually oftentimes leaves your client to be like, hey, cool story, bro, but I'm the hero of my story, even if they don't consciously think it. So that's probably the biggest mistake people make for when they do it. And also oftentimes why people don't do it. Oh, I don't want to build a personal brand that's so egotistical. Really, your personal brand is you're the guide. You're the guide to the hero of somebody else's story. So if you think of Star Wars, your client, the person you want to help, is Luke Skywalker, you're Yoda, right? If you think of the Matrix, your client is Neo, you're Morpheus. They're the hero, you're the guide. But as Morpheus and as Yoda, right? Because that hero could choose so many different mentors, and chances are they wouldn't make their journey if they don't choose the right mentor. So it's so important to build your personal brand as authentically you while you communicate in a way that's, here's how I can help you get to where you're meant to go.
I think most of the time you need the business website and you need the personal brand, and you market those different. You're speaking to different audiences typically. Sometimes it's very hard because you have different audiences, typically of who you're trying to market to. On that, when you're trying to amplify your authority, how does being the guide, being the mentor, how do you demonstrate authority to those potential prospects?
I'll first share one thing that comes to mind with the personal brand versus company brand is, as people love to do business with people. So even if you're primarily building a company brand, featuring your personal brand and your team's personal brands, featuring the personality of the business or your own within your website and within your brand is so important. And then oftentimes it's, like what we did for you and with you, it's rankings.io is the company brand, and there's your personal brand. And I love that yours is a classic example of this, where the headline is, don't represent yourself in the court of Google. Let me help your firm rank number one. That in itself already speaks to, okay, here's how you're the guide. You are sharing your credibility and authority by speaking to what's important to them, what's in it for them, while doing so in a way that, hey, this is what I'm here to do. Let me help you with this, but don't do this yourself. And so that kind of speaks to the direct value. And then all the authority pieces, it's really bringing in whatever your credibility is on, whether it's on track record. I love to say it's like, what's your authentic authority? So you don't need to go buy followers or buy media placements to have authentic authority. What you need is, here's who I've helped, right? And actually sharing those stories. And for us, it's oftentimes just, we list the client list, and that creates a lot of authentic authority. People look at our work, and that creates the authentic authority, right? For you guys as well, hey, we've hit Inc. 5000 5 consecutive years. And just doing that means it's not about the bragging of, hey, we've hit Inc. 5000. It's about, we've served so many people that we've continued growing and we've continued reaching more and more people. So it's testimonials, it's those credibility markers, it's getting yourself featured in, whether it's featured in media, getting on other people's podcasts, doing like what you've done, which is starting your own podcast and doing a lot of content. It's content marketing, but it's really more than that, because it's adding values, contributing values to the people that you're looking to serve. And what better way to show that you can help somebody than actually helping them and doing so for free in a way that's, wow, if their free stuff is so good, wonder what is available if I pay for it. And for personal injury attorneys, right, people don't directly pay for it in the first place. They're picking someone based on who's going to be the best person to help me through this really difficult chapter of my life. And oftentimes, the more value you put out there, way before that person actually needs you, the more they'll think of you as they've already helped me understand some things about this. They're top of mind for me, or they're top of mind for somebody that referred me. And so therefore, I'm going to go with them.
I think of it as like karma. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you putting out all this goodwill and everything just comes back to you, and it kind of that go-giver type mentality. And I wanted to just, for the audience that doesn't know Influex, give me like the TLDR, the summary. What does Influex do? If you're an attorney listening and maybe you got a law firm website, but you don't have the personal site, what exactly does Influex do?
So our brand promise is we build beautiful brands and world-class websites that express your essence and amplify your authority. And that in some ways says it all. So we build beautiful brands. We love to build brands that are just aesthetically, as soon as you look at it, you're like, that's beautiful. That stands out. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So you as the firm owner or individual think it's beautiful, and the people that are looking at it think it's beautiful. And that alone, especially in the legal world, really has it stand out and really creates a lot of trust and connection. Because people love art, people love beauty. And of course, it has to be authentic. So the express your essence piece, it expresses the essence of who you are in your firm through that brand and website. And then, of course, world-class websites. Everything we do, we love to make it world-class. And then amplify your authority is that it's got to also create the kind of credibility and amplify your authority as the go-to person in your space. Therefore, people choose you. So the beauty and the essence captures attention and creates connection. The authority creates attraction and conversion. And so again, websites, brands, and then lately we've been partnering more and more as well on. So like with Chris, with you, and with rankings, it's that what we do best is the front end. It's the beautiful brands, it's the messaging, it's telling origin story, and then partnering with professional teams like yours that do so much on the back end that get the results with SEO, that do the more complex development on the back end, where we've been doing that stuff, but really leaning more and more into our gifts on the front end. Our last core value there being X factor is creativity.
One of your core strengths is the copy, right? So you have some of the top copywriting experts, and I'm not copy as a just writing content, copywriting as like using psychology and using words more creatively. So I really got to compliment you on that end. Where can our audience go to learn about Influex and get in touch with you?
Thank you. Yes, influex.com. Best way is to get in touch there, either fill out a consult, and then my Facebook as well. So if you just look me up on Facebook, my name has a bit of a unique spelling, but I'm sure it'll be included somewhere in this post. And then we also have a new sub-brand for Influex called Authority Attorney, where we specifically do what we do as Influex, with specifically for attorneys and some of the leading and visionary law firms in the space. So that's authorityattorney.com.
Thanks so much to Dmitriy for sharing his insights. Let's recap with some of the takeaways. Don't blend in to stand out. To the average consumer, every firm looks the same. To stand out, you got to go deep. Generic claims like we win more or we care more don't feel genuine. To capture the client's attention and trust, dig deep and get a little vulnerable. Combine your origin story, purpose, and values to create a one-of-a-kind marketing. This will help you attract your ideal clients.
Your greatest influence comes through your fullest expression.
Position yourself as the trusted guide. Be Yoda to their Luke Skywalker. This isn't about you, it's about them. Shape your messaging to focus on serving your clients. Leave your ego at the door. Establish yourself as their mentor who can walk them through the hardest parts of their lives.
When you try to be the hero, that actually oftentimes leaves your client to be like, hey, cool story, bro, but I'm the hero of my story, even if they don't consciously think it. So that's probably the biggest mistake people make for when they do it. And also oftentimes why people don't do it. Oh, I don't want to build a personal brand that's so egotistical. Really, your personal brand is you're the guide. Because that hero could choose so many different mentors, and chances are they wouldn't make their journey if they don't choose the right mentor. So it's so important to build your personal brand as authentically you while you communicate in a way that's here's how I can help you get to where you're meant to go.
Give it away. Demonstrate your authority by giving away value to your potential clients. Sharing what you know will nurture trust and credibility. This can be in the form of ebooks, podcasts, short explainer videos for social, and more. It's purpose-driven content marketing that can set you apart.
They're picking someone based on who's going to be the best person to help me through this really difficult chapter of my life. And oftentimes, the more value you put out there, way before that person actually needs you, the more they'll think of you as they've already helped me understand some things about this. They're top of mind for me, or they're top of mind for somebody that referred me. And so therefore, I'm going to go with them.
All right, everybody. I hope you've added a few more tools to that kit. But before you go, we've got a little inspirational gift for you. Dmitriy is a poet, and he has this to share.
You never know the last breath you will take. So face death every day, because in the face of death, everything melts away, leaving only what is truly important to you. Your beauty, your story, your truth, your music, your soul, what you do as unity forms within you, and your music is pouring from you till every last bit of your fuel and your courage is used. And even when it feels like your hustle is useless, just remember that nothing is useless, and there's a reason that you've been suffering through this, because it's something that moves you to remember the truth that you've got nothing to lose and nothing to prove. So just do what you love and love what you do, and have fun at it too. Give up your excuses. Trust in your music. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
For more about Dmitriy or Influex, head over to the show notes. While you're there, leave me a 5-star review. Thanks for listening to Personal Injury Mastermind with me, Chris Stryer, founder and CEO of Rankings.io. Like Dmitriy said, stay hungry. Catch you next time. I'm out.